The most thrilling, spine-tingling series ever.
From the pages of R.L. Stein's best-selling books,
And the screams go on forever and ever.
We now return to Goosebumps.
Goosebumps fans, young and old, big and small, living dead and undead. Welcome back to the Goosebumps Crew Podcast. As always, I am your host, Isaiah Vargas. I'm joined by my good buddies Bjorn Palnick and Nick Shaw. We are the Goosebumps Crew, and we're back to, what else? Talk some Goosebumps. If this is your first time joining us here on the Goosebumps Crew, hi, good to see you. Great to have you here, because let me tell you, if you are or have ever been a fan of the popular Goosebumps series of books, or the monster franchise that those books spawned, or even if you're just a newbie who's just trying to see what all the buzz, the bumps are about, then I have a feeling this podcast is going to be right up your alley, because as I always say, me, Bjorn, and Nick are some of the biggest Goosebumps nerds on the entire planet. We could talk about Goosebumps for hours on end, and that's exactly what we do here on this podcast. Every week we got a brand new episode talking about everything Goosebumps, whether it's the books, TV shows, movies, video games, merchandise, whatever it is. If it has Goosebumps in the name, we're going to talk about it so much that you at home are going to get Goosebumps as a result. So with all that said, if you end up liking today's episode, make sure you leave a like and comment. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit that bell notification so when new episodes go up every Wednesday at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern, you'll get a nice little notification that tells you, hey, it's ready, go watch it. But if you're just dying to get those episodes early, trust me, I know the feeling, then you are in luck, because you can catch the audio only versions of new episodes every Tuesday, that's the day before the YouTube versions, on our audio platforms. We're streaming over on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, wherever you find your podcasts, you'll find the Goosebumps Crew. And of course, you can follow us over on social media, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, just to name a few. You can also follow Bjorn and Nick at Goosebumps Aussie Fan and Sean, respectively, on their social medias and YouTubes. All those links are in the description below, so check them out. Join the Goosebumps Crew today. Become a crew member. We appreciate in advance for your support. But podcasters, beware, you're in for a scare. So, welcome back to Unsolved Gooseteries. If you guys remember, a few months ago, we started a little segment, I guess, here on the Goosebumps Crew, Unsolved Gooseteries, where we talk about the unsolved mysteries of the Goosebumps franchise, lost media, canceled things, all sorts of stuff, whatever is not well known amongst the greater Goosebumps community. We try to give our thoughts on certain topics. And of course, joining us once again to join in on this discussion is our very good buddy Austin, aka Horror Free For All. You may know him formerly as Goosebumps Completionist, but Austin, man, it's always a pleasure to have you on. So welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk about this stuff. I've been basically nerding out over this for years now. So getting to talk about it on an official podcast such as y'all, it's incredible.
Absolutely, man. And you are a very knowledgeable Goosebumps fan. I mean, if ever we need to know about this kind of stuff, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you're one of the biggest people in the community to go talk to about little known Goosebumps ventures and lost media, because you do your research, dude. So always an absolute pleasure. And for those of you at home who have not seen part one of our Unsolved Gooseteries little sub-series, go watch that video. We talk about things like Goosebumps Live on Stage. We talk about the original plans for Goosebumps 2, the movie. We talk about the Lunchables contest, the ghostwriters for Give Yourself Goosebumps and whatnot. So go check that video out. It was a really, really fun discussion. But we have a whole new batch of unsolved Gooseteries to get to today. And let's not waste any time. Let's get into our very first one. Now, for those of you who have watched the podcast, but are also just kind of well-versed in all the different Goosebumps ventures, you'll know that Goosebumps has had a few ventures into theme parks and live shows. So, of course, there's Goosebumps Live on Stage. There is the Horrorland Fright Show that was in Disney MGM Studios at Walt Disney World back in 1997 to 1998. But for those of you who may not know, there was actually a proposed Goosebumps dark ride that was supposed to pop up around 2008, 2009 to promote Goosebumps Horrorland. And unfortunately, it never got out of the initial pitch period. But fortunately for us, we do have some information and we have some pictures and even video. So let's not waste any time. Let's go take a look at that. So starting off right here, we have an article from Attractions Management, and it says, Sally to give theme park visitors goosebumps. Sally Corporation has signed an agreement with Scholastic Media to design and market interactive dark ride attractions based on the premier kids' funny, scary franchise Goosebumps. The Goosebumps brand was extended earlier this year with a 12-book series called Goosebumps Horrorland. The new book series features a universe of recurring characters, serialized tales, yada, yada, yada. Incorporating blacklight and 3D elements into the ride, Sally will offer designs at 2 different sizes and price points in order to respond to the needs of both small and large parks. Sally will be showing the 2 Goosebumps ride concepts during the IAAPA show, which is being held in Orlando, Florida, from November 17th to 21st. And this was October 30th, 2008. So this is when the initial pitch period was.
Dang it. That's a shame.
Taking a quick look at this little display right here. So this photo, I believe, was posted courtesy of Tweets to Give You Goosebumps at Getting GB over on Twitter. Shout out to them. This is one of the... I guess this is one of the, like, little standees outside the attraction. So it says, all new Goosebumps. Wouldn't you like to have that, Bjorn? That big old Goosebumps sign right there?
I want that
yes, please.
whole damn. I want the whole damn thing.
Yeah.
I want all of it. I love how the books are
Interactive
just there at the bottom
3D
too.
dark ride.
It's literally just got like the Horrorland books just there, like in the bottom.
Yeah.
Like
Right down here.
just to be like, it's based on these. It's based on these.
Well, and you
I
can
want
see that.
dummy. I want the slappy dummy.
Yeah, well, it's actually an animatronic Slappy. So he's holding the little megaphone, and then he's holding a copy of Revenge of the Living Dummy. And you can definitely tell this was Horrorland era because it's got those Horrorland like character designs in the back for the horrors. And as I said, we actually have a video of the animatronic, so let's take a look.
Hey, thanks for waking me up, genius. Oh, hey, you're a nice-looking dummy. My Sally Stooges have come up with a chillin' new adventure ride all about me. I don't need to brag, but who else could bring you the creepiest interactive horror-filled dark ride in blacklight 3D? All those kids who love Goosebumps, all the books, the TV series, the DVDs, the video games are in for the thrill of a lifetime. The land of 1,000 horrors will come to life, and your guests can share the scares. Fasten your scream belt.
And then he just dies.
That even though the ride didn't go through, this wasn't repurposed for something else.
That looks so cool though, how it's moving. Like it's like Slappy's really alive.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really good like animatronic because it had had very fluent movements. It had the voice. It even had like his little feet kicking up when he laughed.
So yeah, like just his little feet, like he's excited, like ha ha.
Ha
I was like, man,
Slappy.
that's a shame. It's a shame that never happened.
Now moving on here to we have an article from Parks Mania. It goes a little more into detail about what the ride or what was planned for it. So it said Sally Corporation signed an agreement with Scholastic Media to design and market interactive dark rides. a brand new blah, 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 blah. It says the Goosebumps concept is absolutely natural for dark rides, says Sally Corporation CEO John Wood. Incorporating blacklight and 3D elements into the rides will add tremendous excitement and fun to the ride experience. And in order to respond to the needs of both small and large parks, we are developing designs at 2 different sizes and price points. Goosebumps is a multimedia phenomenon. This unique family-friendly brand delivers humor along with plenty of thrills and chills. What was that?
Yeah, they already said all that.
Yeah,
skip all that crap. Yada yada yada, as you said. Good.
Yeah. So, yeah, basically the plan was that they wanted to make these dark rides to sell to theme parks, and it was going to promote the Goosebumps brand as well as Goosebumps Horrorland, which was going on at the time. It looks like this is currently still the only like actual proof of concept was this little like, I'm assuming this would be maybe outside the ride. You would have the little animatronic Slappy, and then it says off to the side over here. Let's see.
This would have gone through if it was done in 1995, 96.
I mean, this looks like it could have been something that happened immediately. At the time too.
This would have immediately been approved if this was like 95, 96.
It says over 350 million books sold, over $2 billion in retail sales, 92% brand awareness, books printed in 32 languages, popular TV show, and video game. So this is really all we know about the Goosebumps Dark Ride, other than the fact that the proof of that the pitch was not picked up.
So I remember something was mentioned before. I think you mentioned it. They said there was 2 options for the ride.
Yeah, apparently there was going to be a small park version and a large park version. So there probably would have been like a version that was shorter in length, and then one that had like the full experience, depending on the kind of park that would incorporate it. So
what was the website that published that? Because it looks like they had physical magazines. I wonder if there's a magazine from that time that might have more photos in it.
It looks like this was Parks Mania.
What was the first website?
The first one was Attractions Management. So they would have probably had some kind of like magazine from the time.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'll do some sleuthing.
They have these.
It was just all digital at the time.
Who knows? I mean, it was 2008, so it's possible they were still relying on physical magazines at the time. And then these, they were using these artworks a lot, which I believe were just basic Horrorland art. I remember this one from the Goosebumps website. So, but what do you guys think about the concept of the Goosebumps Dark Ride? Like, what would you guys have liked to, or what do you guys think like would have been, behind the ride if it actually got made?
I think this got canned because they talked about the 90s TV show on that banner back there. Apparently, any mention of that, Scholastic's like, kill it now!
Kill it with fire. Isn't it interesting though to go back to a time
that happened to them since
I'm trying to think
the books, but whatever.
So here's the thing I'm trying to wrap my head around. So they're essentially selling the license to Sally, who would then make the dark rides to sell to amusement parks. Now, is there a time lapse on the rights to the ride that the theme parks would have had to abide by? So, let's say they buy the ride, and then, 10 years down the line, Scholastic's like, okay, in 10 years, you have to renegotiate the contract and pay this amount or this or whatever we want to charge you then. I'm assuming that there would have to be something like that, because if there was, in theory, a dark ride established, I don't know, in Connecticut or some other BS state, right?
Mm-hmm.
If they was still up and running, I'm assuming they would still have to pay Scholastic.
Yeah, it would have to have some sort of renewal, and especially because it looks like this was promoted so heavily around Goosebumps Horrorland that once that series ended, there probably would have to be some kind of update to reflect the current books that were being released at the time. Hall of Horrors, Most Wanted, just
the movie ride. They would have done
Exactly. Well, even then, like, just imagine it did last like 10 years. Like, it went to 2018. It would probably have to, like, it probably would have to have, like, a movie rebrand or something like that.
Well, I reckon it would have. Like the animatronics and like the animatronic Slappy would have reflected the movie version. Like they would have just changed his design. You would have had like the creatures from the movie be the things that jump out at you. Yeah, they would have just rebranded it, but it would have still been Goosebumps if they decided to keep the ride. That would have been so cool, man. Why do these awesome things like nearly happen for Goosebumps, but then they don't happen? Seems to happen a lot.
Like, they made the announcement in '08. It would have come out in '09. By that point, Horrorland would have been well past 12 books, right? Because it's still a book a month
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah.
Because
So
this was
if I, had to, if I had to make an educated guess, what had probably happened was Scholastic saw the writing on the wall with Horrorland, was like, hey, why are we making a Horrorland promotion when the series isn't like doing well as time's going on? Maybe we should try to reformat what we want to do. Possibly Sally was like, dude, we've already invested the money in this. We're not going to change this. So they're probably like, okay, well, then we're just going to have to part ways. Because Scholastic probably was looking at like, hey, we're going to have to change this up because this isn't going to work. We're making a ride for a series that we're probably going to can.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting too. Like, I almost wonder how far they got into it because they made a whole Slappy animatronic. Like,
well, if that's the entrance to the ride, they probably had gotten to that point in the concept, and they were probably still trying to, I guess, visualize and build the framework for the actual ride itself. Which that would be really interesting to see what they would have done. I'm assuming it would have been kind of like Universal Studios almost, with like like most of the rides are like you have that video component where you're watching things as you're experiencing the ride. It probably would have been like that if I had to guess.
I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
Well, and it had a franchise with a lot of what ifs, like, or almost happened. Like it's one of those. It seems like that franchise that doesn't quite. Like we love it so much, but it just doesn't quite get to that point of like having its own thing, like Harry Potter, like Orlando Harry Potter now. Like, look how big that is. Like why can't we have something like that for Goosebumps? But then it's, there's a lot of what ifs. Maybe.
I'm very interested too because I think Sally did a Scooby-Doo dark ride. I don't remember where it was for, but I almost kind of wonder if it would have like that sort of.
There's one in Australia, Scooby-Doo.
That's
based on the movie,
right?
It's based on the movie.
Oh yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah.
You really have like behind the scenes of the movie, like when you're lining up like to go
if they can pull it up because
and people are like, this movie's like 20-something years old now, yet it's still there, and it's like it's a Scooby-Doo dark ride. It's fun though. It's a fun ride.
Well, and just looking at like, okay, see here, like we can see all the different like dark ride and rides that they've made, but like, okay, here, so like whispering, because I'm trying to figure out like if it was gonna be 3D and blacklight, like it would definitely have to be like something that had a lot of gimmicks in it, so you can kind of see like how this ride here is using almost like a remote control. Like there would have to be like audience interaction in some way. And if it's themed to Horrorland, it would have to have the aesthetic of a theme park. At least what I'm thinking.
There's a Scooby-Doo one.
Yeah, there's a Scooby-Doo.
That was the one that looked like they had at Kings Island at the time when they had Hanna-Barbera Land, which is gone now. I believe it's just a generic land. But
yeah. Oh, they have a Casper ride. They
did have a Scooby-Doo Boo Blaster. Oh, that is Casper.
Well, that's the thing. Like, do you think it would maybe be something like, I don't know, like Buzz Lightyear's Astro Blaster over at Magic Kingdom or something like that? Like, maybe you have something where you, like, shoot the monsters or something like that.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's like a laser gun like that.
Yeah.
Laser gun.
Like the Men in Black
hits the
ride.
target.
Mm-hmm.
Activates whatever. That'd be cool. I mean, I'd love a Goosebumps one, obviously.
Yeah. Well, and it could be possible that maybe the concept was liquidated into another attraction. So like maybe they like took the concept and used it for something else.
Well, take a look at the Casper one. I'm curious now because
Let's take a look.
when was that one? When did that one come out?
Let's see.
Casper's Birthday Blast.
Supposed to be the uncles.
2017 it says.
Okay, so this is a fairly new one. All right.
Yeah. It looks like
I
this
don't recognize
was
the two ghosts in bed with him though, which is also strange.
I think that's his uncles. The stinky.
Yeah, but the ones from the
Gretchen.
movie leave the three.
Yeah.
So Casper's the one in the
I think that
Casper's not the one in the middle, right?
no.
Plus, why would all
not.
three of his uncles sleep in the same bed? What is happening here?
I think this
This
was modeled after. Yeah, see,
Whose
because
birthday?
what was it, Casper's Scare School? Like I think
Must
it
be
was
my
that
birthday.
that movie that these characters, because I recognize these characters from that movie and the
Malaysia.
TV show.
In Malaysia.
But the reason why I also said Scooby-Doo is because I feel like the Scooby-Doo ride would probably be the closest in aesthetic to Goosebumps because they're both kind of like silly, scary,
Probably.
like properties.
Yeah, that's the one they had. Yeah, Boo Blaster. They had that at Kings Island for a while. It's in Ohio. Looks like Six Flags for a while. So they had a few of these around. Looks like.
Yeah. So like you can see they have like I wouldn't be surprised if this is basically what they had planned for Goosebumps is that it would
Basically, like they would have just popped up at like Six Flags or Coney Island or something like that, whatever it is.
yeah, some kind of like smaller amusement, well, maybe not smaller, but definitely like no Disney World or Universal.
Right.
But it's very interesting. I mean, just the fact that we could have gotten something like this because even the Horrorland Fright Show at Disney was not a ride. It was a show that was leading into a like maze or like a hall of mirrors. So we never got like a Goosebumps ride in the sense of something like what you would see at a Six Flags or Coney Island or something like that. So
Yeah,
and that
it's just new.
begs the question of it would probably be Horrorland theme, but like would there be references to other Goosebumps stories in there? So like
Probably.
I would
Context
think
is-
so.
If it's off the first 10 Horrorland books, I would assume that they would have stuff like Haunted Mask kind of involved in that. They probably would have, of course, Slappy involved, maybe the Say Cheese camera, stuff.
Monster
stuff from
Blood.
the first 10 books. Yeah.
yeah. So it would definitely be a very heavily focused around Horrorland, but it would have been cool. I would have liked that aesthetic.
come
I don't know
out at
why
the
that
end, you get
slappy,
like
that slappy face looks familiar. Like it is driving me crazy. Like it looks like a person. I cannot place it.
Yeah, that's a person
Does anybody
inside
else
that.
think it
that-
looks
that's a
familiar?
person inside a costume.
Zach.
Like they modeled this after somebody rather than just the artwork from the cover because it doesn't look like the artwork from the cover of the books. So I don't know. That's just maybe it's just me. I don't know.
Our producer is telling us to look at Ghost Blasters 2.0 because there might be possible similarities. Let's take a look. I didn't know they made a 2.0. Scooby-Doo. Well, the Scooby-Doo Haunted
Where are you?
Mansion.
Where are you? Oh, Movie World. See, there it is.
Oh yeah.
Movie World. But that ain't the Movie World ride.
Utilize a lot of maybe this is just for the Scooby-Doo one, but they utilize a lot of cardboard cutouts. So it's
Maybe
possible
we
they
should
might have, like
maybe we should send an email to this Sally.
yeah, we
like,
should send
hey.
an email to Sally themselves.
Be like, remember that Goosebumps dock ride? Why don't we revisit that now? And we can call it Goosebumps House of Shivers. Sounds like a ride.
House of Shivers
Oh my
does sound like a
God.
ride, honestly.
Can we bring it back and just be like, hey, the new R.L. Stein's 82 now. Like, let's give him something really cool. Let's do a dark ride. Call it
Is that the one?
Goosebumps.
Oh, there we go. Ghost Blasters 2.0. Huh.
That would be cool. I would be down for that, obviously.
Yeah.
And wherever that
Look at the Shaggy. Wait, hang on. No, that's not...
ghostly Reaper
No,
thing.
this is not
geez.
Scooby Doo themed. This is just a regular.
Oh, I was gonna say if that was Shaggy, that was weird.
Yeah, a weird
That guy
looking
looks
Shaggy.
so creepy. That
It's
is
like
a
Shaggy crossed
really-
with like Doc Brown and Ace Ventura.
Yeah, what the hell is
Yeah.
going on there? That's
Do they
making
have
me
like
feel
just waiting in the wings?
uncomfortable somehow. Like I don't know.
It looks like
oh kitties.
So
it's
it looks
very
like
possible that maybe.
performance art.
What was that?
Looks like it's semi-performance art mixed with like 3D and ride capabilities. Like they might have some actors with the 3D models or the 3D screens kind of playing out what's going on.
Well, that's what I'm thinking too, because I'm almost wondering if there was like a pre-show planned with Slappy. Like Slappy was almost like the carnival barker, and he's like in the pre-show. It's like welcome to Horrorland and all that stuff. Like, oh, your nightmares come to life. So, like, I feel like it would have been that, and then maybe
Voiced by Zach Baby TV.
Yeah, no. When you look at places like Universal and the new Dark Universe stuff, they have a lot of like line queue, I guess, animatronics and stuff. So that way, like, you can listen and watch what's happening before you actually go onto the ride. I'm assuming that's where Slappy would be at, kind of thing.
Mhm.
Just something ahead of time.
And it looks like it might have been like, I don't know. It looks like it might have been like 2D backgrounds with the 3D elements being like, even you can kind of see almost like the black light. Like, it's possible that the black light comes in because these are probably like black screens, and then maybe there's like a flash of lightning and all of a sudden there's a monster or a ghost right there. I would assume is probably it. These all kind of look like they have the same formula. Because even this one looks similar to the Scooby-Doo one. That's probably why. It's probably why at first
it's
it was like, that looks like Shaggy.
Because
I think they just, like,
well, yeah, I mean, it's repurposed. Like when they changed, at least at Kings Island. So like when Hanna-Barbera Land left, and they just did like Boo Blaster or whatever. I do recall, I think that specific one, the guy who kind of looks like a cross between Doc Brown and Ace Ventura, being replaced because like it was just like a statue, but they put it on like a rotating base, so it like looked like he was being chased. And he would just circle around, and you're still blasting away different laser point spots and shit. So you're like, ah. So I probably, I don't think there was any
Brown and Ace Ventura.
animatronic or videos or anything, but it was just that. And you could definitely tell like the backdrop scenes were still Scooby-Doo left over.
Yeah.
But because they weren't trademarked characters of Scooby-Doo, they could reuse them for that.
I remember they did the same thing at Great America Six Flags, because they used to have a whole like Hanna-Barbera little theme park, and they had the Scooby-Doo like little mystery machine, but then when they when they took away all the Hanna-Barbera license, it was renamed to Crazy Bus, but it still had the exact same like backgrounds. They just took out the Scooby-Doo characters.
Yeah.
So, but
well, eventually after Hanna-Barbera stuff left, they put in at least at Kings Island, they did like a Nickelodeon world for a while. So you had like the Wild Thornberry ride, you had the Krabby Patty Shack or something, and a bunch of this other stuff. I mean, it was pretty cool. I like the theme stuff more, but then Paramount sold that park to just, I can't remember who, Cedar Point, I think.
Or Cedar Point.
So now nothing's licensed there anymore. So now it's just generic stuff, but still fun. But it's nicer though when you get those theme stuff. So I would have freaking killed to have some Goosebumps goodness and a theme park somewhere.
Yeah,
because I think it fits in great, given their stories and stuff.
Would have been cool. Imagine a Wild Thornberry's dark ride with Nigel Thornberry as like the evil. As you're like going through the ride.
Freaking Tim Curry, just like you just hear him the whole time.
You just hear the Odd Parents dark ride, and it's Dinkelberg trying to kill you.
Dinkelberg.
Yeah.
Taking a
that would
look
be
at
so good.
well, taking a look here at this like description for this Ghost Blasters ride, it said that, and I read this because it most likely could have had a similar like thing. It says immersed in a haunted atmosphere from the exterior queue line onward. It says there's 14 scenes. So if it were to be themed after Horrorland, it's possible it probably would have had different attractions, probably themed to the different books at the time. So like you were saying, Austin, probably would have been like a Haunted Mask part and a Monster Blood part and, you know, a Say Cheese and Die part, something like that. And it says here that there's like sound effects, engraved tombstones, fog, a water spitting gargoyle. So it probably would have even been like 4D in a way. Possibly.
Well, think about it. If they're going like in sequential order for the first 10 books, when you have these kids entering Horrorland, each little independent room has different characters. Like Carly Beth in room 4 is the Haunted Mask, and she's like, "Oh, everyone, help me take my mask off," blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, you get to the end of the ride, and then all these things coalesce together. That would be my interpretation of how it would go.
Yeah.
The characters all come together, and then there's one final show with all the monsters, and that would be fun.
I think it would have been awesome. It's such a shame that this never came to fruition. And this is all, of course, this is all just speculation on our part, but I hope that we can find out more information about like what was planned for it, what it was initially going to be. Also, our producer wanted to point out that this image here of Scooby in bed with the skeleton actually looks an awful lot like the cover to Monster Edition 1 with Curly in the bed with his dog.
Oh, yeah.
So it's possible maybe it was repurposed into Scooby-Doo. Because when did Scooby-Doo come out? This was Scooby-Doo Haunted Mansion. Looks like it was as early as 01, so maybe not. If you're a real Goosebumps fan, you know the best time to dive in is after dark when it's quiet, eerie, and every creak in the house suddenly matters. G Fuel helps you stay in that zone. Clean energy, no crash, just enough boost to keep your head clear and your nerves steady through every creepy episode. Grab yours at gfuel.com or click the link in the description and use our promo code GBCREW at checkout to get 20% off your entire order. Perfect for late night fear sessions with the Goosebumps Crew. And thank you to G Fuel for sponsoring this episode. So we're taking a look at a post here from Instagram user Creepcell. It looks like he was able to find a pitch booklet cover. So this booklet was sent to amusement parks to advertise 4 spine-tingling concepts incorporating blacklight and 3D elements developed by Satellite Corporation in collaboration with Scholastic to coincide blah, 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 blah. Inside, there's a haunting blend of existing art, original concepts, potential ride layouts, eerie scenes, and deets as seen partially on the right. Haven't seen another one of these before, but I'm curious to know how many have survived since then without being thrown out or lost. This should have happened, crying, screaming, throwing up over that it never did.
We need to see the inside of this booklet.
So that paints it a little more clear. So it sounds like there was like a handful of options that the parks could pick from, and they can like pitch it to them, and they can essentially pick from a catalog. Hey, we want to do this idea, maybe go with this layout, blah blah blah, for their version of the ride. Mm-hmm. That's what it sounds like. They're giving like the customizable approach for the park.
Yeah, so it's like the park
which could make sense. It goes back to they're talking about like how big, you know, their ride is at that specific location. So it would make sense if they could, in fact, kind of pick and choose different.
I'm assuming that if a park wanted to designate like a quarter or maybe like an eighth of the park just to Goosebumps, they'd be like, "Hey, we want this as big as possible. you know, we need this as the main attraction for this part of the park." So that would be an option for them.
Yeah, you can see a little bit inside the book.
You can see a little bit inside.
So you can have a layout thing there.
So look, like
you see moving cars. There you go.
Yeah, moving cars. There's the coffin cruise. The coffin cruise. No exit. So you can see a little bit inside. It says to shoot at, so definitely there would have been some shooting elements in it. Yeah.
I reckon it was just a straight out Horrorland ride with just a few monsters that pop out.
It had to be. It had to be like some kind of just like incorporation of the Tomorrowland brand. But and then maybe you had some other Goosebumps monsters on there, but
Just
this
like
is
popping out
awesome.
at random times. Yeah, like
Hopefully we can find more of this, like this
okay,
pamphlet.
someone needs to find this booklet. Okay,
You know,
find it. Does this guy have it? This guy has it.
Yeah.
I think
Creep Cell, you know,
not
over
what he owns. It was just as
I'm gonna
yeah, it
try to
looks like
track
it was
down that
just
booklet and that other magazine
image.
from earlier to see if there's any information in that magazine too. So I'm curious to see, you know, maybe if there's images in that, you know, first thing we looked at, and then obviously I want to see what the layouts would have looked like.
yeah, definitely, because we can get a little bit of a look and see that, like, yeah, the coffin crews and stuff like that. So it definitely would have had different.
So there's
parts of
no
the
known image. There's no known image of what it looked like inside the ride.
Mm-mm. No, and as far as I'm concerned, it looks like it was only done in concept, and it was never actually like.
I guarantee you, there's probably some prototype car, or maybe some of the artwork that they had planned, probably out there. If I had to guess, that's probably the extent of it, though, because if they had no purchasers and they had like fallen through on the license, they wouldn't have gone through with like paying the money to actually go through with the building contracts to get that stuff made. So they probably had some stuff they could have already had the whereabouts to do. Like, you know, we have the license laying around. You know, these guys design rides, and they also they say they produce their own artwork for them. That's what they would probably do first, is produce the artwork. You know, so
Yeah, I don't know. It really just makes it suck that this did not come to fruition. Even if it was short-lived, at least it could have been there. But yeah, we need to find this this pamphlet. Creep Cell. If I don't know if you're going to be watching this, dude, but if you have more from this pamphlet, we'd love to see it. Please, 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 we'd love to see it. But for now, the Goosebumps Dark Ride is just another unsolved goosetery, and hopefully we can learn more about it in the coming future. I do wonder if this Slappy has turned up anywhere. Somebody's got to have him in a warehouse somewhere. Somewhere. He's just rotting away.
If I made it, I would think they still have it.
Probably at the Sally Dark Rides warehouse.
Where's the location of the warehouse? I guarantee you it's in there.
Let's see.
It should say their address.
Florida.
Jacksonville, Florida.
It's probably living there. And
Probably
Guys, we're going to Jacksonville.
To recover the Slappy doll.
Yeah.
Slappy
To rescue Slappy.
This is a search and recovery mission.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, it's time to move on to our next unsolved goosetery, and that is George Romero's Goosebumps. So, as we talked about it before, but there were many different pitches for a Goosebumps movie before the 2015 film, going back as far as technically 1992. Really, you know, there was all kinds of talks when the series started getting popular. And of course, the TV show came out in 1995. That was the big on-screen version for a while. And as far as we know, there were two directors that had possible hands in a Goosebumps movie through, I believe, 20th Century Fox, because they own the rights to the TV show. And we're going to go into detail about George Romero, but we do also have to bring up Tim Burton's possible Goosebumps movie. And it actually says it right here. It said that the effort seemed to have eventually started moving with Tim Burton, but according to Stein, the project was delayed by Burton's aborted Superman project and then eventually was abandoned. But I almost feel like I heard that Burton also was not familiar at all with Goosebumps and really had no interest, like, in the brand as a whole. I might be mistaken, but I'm almost positive that he didn't do it because he didn't care about Goosebumps as a whole. So
I don't know. I don't.
Movie. The fans need to make it.
Yeah. Who knows?
There's fan movies on YouTube. What are you talking about? There's even
You got a
music
Slappy
video.
Mafia one. Yo, cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, yeah, we can't forget the amazing cinematic masterpiece that is
Yeah,
Slappy the
there's
Evil Dummy with the
yeah.
pew, pew.
and then there's Goosebumping.
God, no, we
That's
don't.
what I said. Well, wait, I already said. I said it. I said there was a masterful music video that's out there too. That
That will not be
you fans can
discussed.
check out.
I'm a
You fans can check out.
Anyway,
That's one of my better qualities.
moving on, it says George Romero was set to essentially direct an adaptation of the very first Goosebumps book, Welcome to Dead House. And since then, most of a lot of people have been being like, oh, George Romero is supposed to do a Goosebumps movie. And for the most part, the script is not readily available, though it's very possible that it's still accessible in some way. So we have this article from the University of Pittsburgh Shield in horror studies, and it says here that in the wake of Goosebumps' initial success, George Romero was one of the filmmakers who explored the possibility of a feature film adaptation. The exact timeline of the production and Romero's place within is unclear, but Fox at one point placed a Goosebumps movie on their tentative release schedule for Halloween 1996. It says it seems unlikely that Burton's film...
That would have been perfect. 96.
I mean,
Peak
definitely.
Goosebumps, yeah.
Right
Peak,
during, in the middle of the TV show, too.
That would have been perfect for 96.
But it says it would not have been uncommon for the studio to commission multiple scripts over the course of a few years, as Universal did with The Mummy, for which scripts were written or revised by Romero, John Sayles, Mick Garris, and Alec Ormsby, among others, resulting in a complicated arbitration process? I probably butchered that word. To determine the credited writers for the 1999 film. The eventual Goosebumps film takes a meta approach, blah, 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 talks about that. Romero's script was a far more straightforward adaptation of Welcome to Dead House, albeit one with a very distinct take on the story. It explains about the Stein book, and it says Romero retains the basic scenario and all the major character names, but tweaks the story in revealing ways. In the Stein book, the zombification comes a la Return of the Living Dead because of a mysterious gas that escapes from a local factory. Romero makes the capitalistic origins more emphatic. The town patriarch, the wealthy Foster DeVries, has in death possessed the town. The state of living death experienced by the residents stemmed from a supernatural power that DeVries has now shared with imposed on the town. It says there were a handful of horror scenarios that Romero returned to repeatedly over the years, but which never made their way into a finished film. Big feet, golems, Frankenstein monsters, etc. His version of Goosebumps picks up an idea that he had developed for years in a project called Apartment Living that came very close to production in the late 80s, and which he would return to again, a house that is alive and which feeds off its inhabitants. Here it's more accurate to say the house is undead, as it is possessed by DeVries' spirit. DeVries / the house feeds off its inhabitants, sucking out their energy until they die, after which they are revived to join the rest of the undead in the town. The energy harvested from the inhabitants sustains the residents for another year, and escaping the town means defeating DeVries and his toadies and his former employees, who still do his bidding in exchange for this new form of wages. As town leader Compton Dawes tells Josh, those who give life to the house give life to Foster DeVries. Somehow he continues to exist within the very walls of the home he cherished, and being a man who honors his obligation, he pays those who have served him by giving them immortality. To which Josh responds by turning into walking corpses like you. So just stopping right here for right now. Very different concept.
Yeah, it sounds like he's going straight for the jugular on the capitalism commentary.
Exactly. It's like it feeds on the people. It's not exactly like zombies, like they're the zombies eating you or sucking your blood or whatever. It's just that the zombies are the result
Customer
of
DeVries is a supplier.
Yep. So they're just DeVries feeds off you, and you just become another one of his minions, I guess.
This could be a whole meta take on Goosebumps' franchise as a whole now. This would have been 96. Everybody's buying into the hype. You know, you can get really meta with it if they want. You could have like a store, like a bookstore in town with Goosebumps books, and these kids are like, "Oh, Goosebumps!" and like freaking out, and like you can just go full on meta with it.
Yeah, honestly, that would have been really funny. I feel like it would have been in style with Romero too, and Romero loves to do like the social commentary.
A6.
Yeah.
I feel like Jim
Right before
He's
Liar
like a
Liar,
stalker,
he would have been
creepy
free,
weirdo.
right after Batman Forever, right
Really?
before Liar Liar.
Yeah, look at him in Cable Guy. Like even some of those scenes, like he's creepy ass and weird.
Mm-hmm. Maybe a Robin
I'll have to think
Williams.
about that.
I feel like
Robin
I'll have to
Williams.
think about that.
like Robin
You
Williams
guys
probably
keep
could have
thinking
been a good Mr.
comedians,
Dawes.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't
Tommy
know.
Lee
Like,
Jones. Tommy Lee Jones.
I don't know.
In the 90s.
Robin Williams could do creepy well. I remember
Maybe
watching.
I mean, he can, but
Arnold
you never really
Schwarzenegger.
saw any of that till 1 hour photo, and that was
Arnie should have
My
been in
name
it.
is
later.
My name is Foster DeVries. Get out of my house now!
Get out of the house now!
Out of the house.
Welcome to my dead house.
The house is a dead house.
Imagine
You put Arnold
Arnie
in there?
Be like,
It was his twins put Arnold and Danny DeVito in there.
or Christian Bale. You could
Honestly, Danny, no,
Compton Dawes.
Nicholas Cage.
Danny DeVito as
could've been in
Compton
it.
Dawes would have been awesome.
Oh, and Nicholas Cage.
Nicolas Cage could have been good.
Welcome to the dead house.
Realistically, George Romero had a history with like Laurel Productions and a few actors. I think legitimately he probably would have tried to cast Steve Buscemi in a role in that movie.
See, that would be.
Oh, yeah.
I think that'd be good.
Because he was
Like
in Tales
Steve
from the
Buscemi.
Dark Side, the movie. He was also in a few. He was in an episode of Monsters. I think he would have considered somebody like him. Realistically, though,
Yeah.
somebody
still-
within his acting circle.
Yeah,
And it says
that would have been good.
Could have been like an
Buscemi
Adam
does.
Sandler movie.
I
Had,
think
like,
that
all
was
the
that
Adam
pretty
Sandler
good.
actors in it. Like all of them.
Oh God, yeah. All the Happy Madison production guys.
Oh my
That'd
god!
be
It's a
hilarious.
Happy
I mean, that'd be a
Madison
weird. That's not Goosebumps, but I mean, like,
Compton Dawes,
Compton Dawes.
production. Yeah.
Rob Schneider is
Mike Myers. Mike
Rob
Myers.
Schneider
Yeah.
is the polar bear. Derpity derp derp derp.
the real estate agent.
What if they cast
Yeah.
Rob Schneider as R.L. Stein?
Oh.
Fuck
Oh,
me.
God. No.
no. Who would play
If they're
Amanda
gonna go
and
that
Dawes?
route, they should just get Arnold Schwarzenegger as R.L. Stein or something. You know, go on. You know,
I mean, honestly, there was a time that Jack Black was a really weird choice for R.L. Stein too.
books. Going to pick up one
Brendan
of my
Fraser I
books.
would have picked.
About to get the
I would
pounds.
have gone. Brendan Fraser. R.L. Stein.
It says that the script is just as incisive and insightful about 1990s America as its sort of predecessors, that being Night, Dawn, and Day of the Dead, did about their times, capturing something visceral about the growing demands on workers made by employers and the dangerous precarity lying just underneath the surface of all that apparent prosperity. So,
All these zombies.
all
Get
these
to the
zombies
chopper.
Curious
coming
to
out
actually
of
get
the
into,
dead
like,
house.
the ending of the story now, because like, is he going the whole angle like they defeat this DeVries guy, and what's going to happen to the town now? They're just going to rebuild it.
Mhm.
Is that what the angle of it?
I think so. I think that the end. So this quote here says, what is it? It says, "We saw you as a threat to us," and this is Karen saying this, "because that's the way our parents saw you. We shouldn't have believed them." We have an article from Bloody Disgusting called George A. Romero's Goosebumps: Unearthing the Kid-Friendly Horror Movie. And a lot of this info we already went over, but It said the writer of this article actually paid a visit to the George A. Romero archival collection at the University of Pittsburgh Library System, which houses numerous works from the late horror legend, including produced and unproduced screenplays, treatments, artwork, correspondence, props, posters, and more. So he was actually able to unearth some archives from the Goosebumps production. So it said that it was going to be produced by 20th Century Fox's Fox Family Film Division. So it wasn't exactly like big budget 20th Century Fox. It was probably like gonna be on the same level as like probably a TV movie, like in terms of budget.
So they say Fox Family?
Yeah.
So that was I think their home video label. But this is before the Fox Family Network, so this would have been home video. It sounds like.
Home video, direct to video, something like that. And it says it began with Fox Family's vice president Kevin Bannerman, who considered Romero for the job of bringing the book series to the screen. From a letter from Romero to Bannerman dated September 9th, 1995. One can glean that Bannerman suggested a number of Stein novels for Romero to read, and he picked Welcome to Dead House. It's fascinating to read this. Okay, so this is the letter that Romero sent to the vice president of Fox Family. It says, Dear Kevin, I'm delighted to be under consideration for your Goosebumps feature project. I've read several of the books as the father of a 12-year-old. As a 12-year-old myself at heart, I've read several others on my own. I've long felt the series to be a natural for film and or television. I've always wanted to make films for a young audience, but my reputation has insisted, or caused those with checkbooks to insist, that I was best suited for the hard stuff. Horror for a young audience, and the fact that someone is taking it seriously seems not only too good to be true in a genre to which I would love to contribute, but also a genre which the aforementioned checkbook types might be willing to see as, quote, not too big a stretch for me. Since our talk on the telephone, I've read the books you suggested and am sending on the following observations. As it seems to be the prime contender, I will concentrate on Welcome to Dead House, though many of the more general comments will, I think, apply to the other titles as well. Thank you for your time. Sincerely hope you can find a way for me to participate. And it says, P.S. We'll be at our Pittsburgh home until
Damn, why we didn't get this? I wish we got this.
It says...
I believe this never came to be. Like, who killed...
There's Josh. Oh, I know who could have played Amanda.
It looks like it actually goes into detail
from Casper and Wednesday.
It looks like, well, these are just photos from the TV show version. But from what it said over in the other article, it seemed like Josh was actually going to be the main character as opposed to Amanda. So Amanda was going to be the side character. But it looks like this article actually goes
side piece. Amanda was about to be the side piece.
I love how in the book, like, Mr. Dawes is like meant to be like a 30-year-old attractive guy. That's one thing I never forget about the book.
Cast in our, we got Danny DeVito cast in our fan.
Yeah, like he's meant to be like this.
Danny DeVito's good though. Like I feel like he would fit that role. And it looks like this article actually
would have been a good Amanda.
This article actually goes into detail about what the screenplay was. So if you wanted to know about what this movie was basically going to play out as, I mean, this is basically it. Like, it's basically the full story that Romero laid out. And unfortunately, for time purposes, we won't be able to go through it. But we'll leave a link in the description if you guys at home want to go check this out. But the end of the article says,
at the time.
It's a shame genre fans, young and old, were denied this film, which would have found a legendary filmmaker tackling the lighter fare for young audiences. Worse still is that this film would have seen Romero tackling the living dead yet again, albeit in a wildly different form from the zombies he's known for. In fact, Romero's take on Dark Fall's Living Dead is somewhat different from those presented in Stein's novel, which were more traditional. Then this features prosthetic-limbed, water-soluble ghouls. And it's interesting to consider that Romero may have wanted to get away from being the, quote, living dead guy, if only for this film. In any case, we're left without what might have been a turning point in Romero's career. Had he made a successful kids film for a major studio in the mid-90s, who knows what the rest of his filmography would have looked like. Nevertheless, at least we have the screenplay, which can be viewed and read in the University of Pittsburgh library system, which houses this treasure and many, many more. Make sure when you can, and let us know in the comments what you think, blah, blah, blah. So, I actually did try to go to the archival website, and I actually was not able to get into it. So this is the website that houses it's a guide to the archival.
I think out of all things we've covered on here, this is the one thing that could be posthumously released. I think John Harrison, the guy who made Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, and he's worked with George Romero over the years before he died.
Mm-hmm.
He's still around and kicking. He's still making stuff. You can have him direct this as a movie or maybe a new Goosebumps anthology episode if they want to bring back the idea and take Romero's vision for Dead House. I'd be on board with that too.
Yep. Also, I was under the
other day.
There's a series.
Isaiah, we were talking the other day, like if Netflix did what they did with like the Fear Street movies and just picked like 3 of the most iconic Goosebump books and just did like 3 movies for each one.
Yeah, you could do like Zach Kreger's take on Stay Out of the Basement and like George Romero's take
just get different directors to do it.
Yeah.
Also, I was underneath the wrong section, but there's a section for scripts. You go to unproduced works, and then section 43, that's Goosebumps. So there's Goosebumps treatment, and then Goosebumps full copy 2 partial scripts containing possible revisions, facts about project March 19th, 1996. So unfortunately, I can't pull it up right now. I think you have to add it to a list. So if anyone wants to try, grabbing this for yourself, let us know if you can get a hold of it. But as we said, this bloody, disgusting article is basically a summary of what the screenplay was. So if you want to know what George Romero's version of Dead House was, this would be the article. So as I said, we'll leave it in the description below.
Yeah. Would have been cool.
Yeah, give me a James Wan Haunted Mask or Headless Halloween or something. It'd be cool.
That'd be cool to see Headless Halloween adapted for
I
screen.
think it'd be really cool if they could really get some
child death,
like horror directors.
Get Mike Flanagan's Night of the Living Dummy. Or,
that'd be awesome.
Get like Andre Overdall's One Day at Horrorland.
Yeah.
Well, see, what they could do is literally
they haven't approached horror directors for Goosebumps projects.
Just make
movies.
Yeah. Dude, you know what they should
do? No-brainer.
Just try and tackle the first 10 books. Try and do all the first 10.
You stop right before the best one.
Well, that's the thing. See, number 11 would be the start of the next 10. So you'd be like, well,
we'll get not all the first 10 were all that good. I don't know if I'd want some of those in the first 10.
Charles Band's Monster Blood 2.
Yeah.
The guy from Full Moon Features.
Yeah.
What was that? The Beastly Beaver? So you got that's
I want to see this brought into a real serious setting.
Beastly Beaver.
Someone should just take the worst Goosebumps books and make movies. Let's make Go Eat Worms, Barking Ghost. What if they did announce we're going to be doing 3 Goosebumps movies on Netflix, and then they're like, what ones are they going to be?
Ghost.
And it's literally like Barking Ghost, Go Eat Worms, and like, I don't know, Chicken. Those are the 3 movies they choose to do.
I would watch
How dare you throw Chicken is the worst.
And they have good horror directors. I'll be like, all right, let's see what they got. Let's
see what they can do with these 3.
Speaking of,
it can't be any worse.
Yeah,
show your metal.
Speaking of lost, Goosebumps screen media, let's move on to our next topic, and that is lost episodes of the Goosebumps TV show.
Not a Living Dummy, apparently.
Well, Night of the Living Dummy is one of them, and according to the Goosebumps wiki, it does say that the first Living Dummy book was considered for TV adaptation, but the showrunners decided it wasn't going to work for screen. A script was never materialized, and thus an episode was never shot. It was considered, but the first Slappy episode would be an adaptation of Living Dummy 2. So no Living Dummy 1. Anybody who thinks it exists, it doesn't. There was never a script. Nothing was shot.
To the guy that keeps commenting on our stuff. Stop it! Stop it!
Here's the thing about Night of the Living Dummy. That's like the most famous example. With the old show, there was a whole process they would do. They had like a writer's room, and they would get like the idea of like, here's the book, and then they'll be like, all right, is this feasible? Is this worthy of the time? And they'll look at it and they'll be like, no, and toss it, or they'd be like, okay, here, Neil Schussman, here, write us a script for this, or write us a treatment for this, or like a general outline, and then we'll take it to budgeting. We'll take this to like, getting quotes on how much it's going to cost, and then we'll go through with the actual script once we get the green light. Night of the Living Dummy never even got as far as a script. It was just like they had this and Dummy 2 on the table, because Dummy 2, I think, was like brand new when the show came out in season 1.
Just come out, yeah.
Just come out. So they're like, why make this one when this guy, Slappy, he seems to be the rage. He's the guy on the cover. Why are we going to redo this same book almost? Because I think what they said was something on the lines of, this isn't feasible because we're essentially going to be repeating ourselves with Dummy 2. So they pulled the impossible, and they started with Dummy 2, even though people are probably like, but what happened to Dummy 1? So I think that's the main reason why they just they didn't want to make the same episode twice, which I get. And also the Mr. Wood, you would never reuse him again.
Yeah.
So you'd be wasting a prop.
Yeah. Exactly. Unless they
can reuse Slappy.
Actually, I think I just think a lot of that too ended up being more again, what could you do on TV that's in this book? But again, with Billy and Dan, they could have changed things drastically enough like they've done for other ones. But I think they did look at that first one and are just like, no, this is not feasible for an episode. But because 2 was way more plausible, so it made sense.
Because I think the climax of Dummy, you would have to completely change that climax, because where are they going to get an unfinished house? Where are they going to find a bulldozer to run? I mean, stuff like that. This is extra stuff. They're probably
plus some of the things that Mr. Wood did were, questionable.
Oh, he's also
you're going to have kids
green vomit on kids.
Each other.
You could get away with that at the time because Nickelodeon did a lot of the slime stuff, and they did the monster blood and whatever. But
all the kids start throwing up on each other. I'm like, oh, that'd be fun to shoot.
They would have to, they'd have to rethink that scene for sure. Somehow they'd have to
I always thought that they could incorporate, they could pull what they did for Deep Trouble and then just hybrid the first 2 books and make their own story out of it. I think that would be fun. They could have just done that.
But no. They went.
That's what I mean. By what they did later with a lot of stuff. I mean, Haunted Mask 2 is another example that we've mentioned before, and there are certain changes that they could make to make better episodes, even better than the book at times. So, I mean, it could have happened, I guess, but this being the early stages of the show, I just think they were trying to get episodes out like they did very quickly, with very quick turnaround times. So it was probably not as feasible for them at the time to get 1 out compared to, say, 2.
Well, think about it this way. If Dummy 2 was brand new by the time that the show came out, right? If let's say Stein had let them know ahead of time, hey, I'm actually planning on doing a 3rd book with this Slappy character, they'd be like, okay, well, we know he has another book to make for us down the line. Why are we going to waste resources on Mr. Wood? I've always tried to rationalize it like that. Obviously they would have known, because in season 2, you see this, they were making episodes before these books even dropped at times. Calling All Creeps, Vampire Breath, and Jack-o'-lanterns, they were making those episodes before those books ever released. So they got wind of stuff beforehand. So
which makes sense, because I mean, they did have Stein writing, because I think they said that the process, even though there was a book every month, he was about 6 months ahead maybe on books. because they had to go through editing and finalizations and covers and all that. So
Goosebumps fan sites like the Bumps, they would have the titles like 8 months out sometimes. they already have wind of a title. So
yeah. Well, considering Living Dummy 2 and 3 were only 9 books apart, he already had that planned at some point.
Probably.
Oh yeah, probably not long after.
But speaking of episodes that were, so Living Dummy 1 never made it to production. It was considered but didn't. But an episode that was apparently in production was an adaptation of The Abominable Snowman of Pasadena. Around 1997, it says, Protocol Entertainment, the company that produced Goosebumps, reportedly told fans that an adaptation of Abominable Snowman was in production, but it ended up getting cut for budget issues. So
yes, so this one is a gray area. I've done some independent research into this. So yeah, so this one, they obviously went further than what Dummy did. It got past the original green light on the original quote. They got a script made. They actually went and picked a location. They were going to start, I guess, principal photography, casting, what all entails with making an episode. But they quickly realized that they were going to have to go over budget.
Yeah.
Because of stuff that was adding up. And they were like, oh, crap, I think we overshot this. We put our foot in our mouths with it. So they had to quietly, toss it out. So I don't remember what season this would have come out in. Was it season 2 or 3? Did it mention that?
If it was 97, it could have been late season 2, but definitely season 3.
So they were making it in 97? Oh, that means it would have been season 3.
Yeah, and so it would have been season 3, I feel. But I mean, it would have been interesting if it would have been interesting, but also a little bit like, because most of the story takes place in like the Arctic. It's a very different place. So like,
there's no Pasadena Arctic.
No, well, they would definitely be able to pull off. Well, would they though?
I think they would have done a name only adaptation with that one.
What was that?
I think they would have done an in name only with that. I think like the final few chapters of the book when they're in Pasadena. I think they would have literally just built a story off that and made a extended ending to the book, but that's the episode.
Yeah, or maybe it's after they bring it home or something like that, or
yeah, and they'll go into flashbacks of when they were in the Arctic and how they got they'll bring the viewer to context of how they got the Abominable Snowman, but really the whole episode is just them in California.
Yeah.
Or in Canada, California.
Or yeah.
That's probably what they would have done.
California, or what would that be?
I'm not saying they couldn't have done snow, because Are You Afraid of the Dark did a snow episode up in Canada, so maybe they could have at least attempted it, but I highly doubt it.
Yeah, it would have to be done.
It does get cold and snowy up in there, so I mean, you could do it.
Yeah,
depends on you shoot, I suppose.
I mean, they would film in what like Vancouver and Ontario and places like that. They wouldn't go too far north, so they try to stick around that area.
Yeah. And another episode that probably would have come out around season 3 would have been The Thumbprint of Doom. So Neil Shusterman considered writing an episode from the Even More Tales to Give You Goosebumps book, and he originally was going to do Thumbprint of Doom, but he instead opted for Awesome Ants instead because he thought he could do more with it. And this is actually according to an interview with The Bumps. So reading off the article from The Bumps, it said that it's short story from Special Edition 4. So this is when the 4th Tales to Give You Goosebumps is coming out. And Ultimate Goosebump, TV. And he's like, it's about an ant farm, it grows too big. Neil Shusterman, scriptwriter of 2 past GB primetime episodes, tells us that he's not writing The Thumbprint of Doom, as we reported earlier this month, because they offered me the ant one, and I thought I could do more with it. According to him, also Neil tells us he's almost finished with the Animorphs TV script. That's not relevant.
Animorphs.
So it looks like
Animorphs is always relevant.
Well, it looks like that once Still More Tales came out and it had Awesome Ants, then he was like, "Ooh, I want to actually do that one more." So It's interesting though that we could have gotten Thumbprint of Doom as a TV episode adaptation. What do you guys think?
I feel this was a lose-lose situation, so it really didn't matter.
It's a short story adaptation, so it's going to make people feel a certain type of way. But I didn't mind Austin Mance. I mean, Neil Shusterman, he wrote Fever Swamp and Dummy 3, so I had faith in him. Even if he did Thumbprint of Doom faithfully to the short story, that one was actually kind of funny. I like that story.
Not all winners.
Not all winners. I mean, like
the show, you can't have them all winners, I guess.
Yeah. Well, who knows?
You're allowed a dud here and there, I guess.
We got a Barking Ghost episode, didn't we?
That got made somehow.
But and then also I've never heard, but Austin, before the show, you said that it was possible that there was also a Jelly Jam episode.
So I heard.
Oh no!
I heard there's been a rumor for a long time that Jelly Jam was in talks. The only thing I have ever been able to find, and I had to dig it up, but there was somebody talking, asking. I can't remember if it was Rick Drew or Ron Oliver. You might have to ask him again if you ever get him on your show about it. And one of them said, Jelly Jam was probably one of the episodes that we had on our table at one point, but it probably got scrapped. That's the only other episode I think I've ever seen mentioned outside of those three. So, as far as the other ones, I mean, it's hearsay, but I guarantee you they probably did have them on their laps at one point. I guarantee Monster Blood 2 probably was brought up, and they're like, the one with the giant hamster? Yeah, we're not going to do that.
Yeah. You can definitely...
We'll do Giant Ant.
We'll do a Giant Ant.
And if they did Jelly Jam, Tim Jacobus would have had to have played Buddy. We all agreed on this.
He's not an actor. He has told me that before when I've asked him stuff. He's like, I can't act.
But I think Jelly Jam has legitimacy to it compared to Ghost Camp, for example, because unlike that, all you need to put the budget in is the Jelly Jam animatronic. Everything else you can literally just film at a camp and put people in outfits and play sports. Mm-hmm. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, Camp Nightmare was
budget-friendly episode besides that.
Camp Nightmare was pretty it wasn't an amazing looking camp either. It was pretty much a lot of open fields and maybe a cabin here or two, so they could pull it off.
I mean, they could pull it up. They probably could have done cultish too, thinking about it. But
matte paintings probably to make the underground look a lot bigger. They did the same thing with Vampire Breath, I remember. And make a big set. They probably could have.
They probably would have just reused Vampire Breath set, to be honest.
I was gonna say if it came after Vampire Breath, they could have just reused the set and dressed it up a little different. So
I think they reused it for Haunted House game. I think somebody mentioned that before.
Yeah,
it was
Let's Get Invisible House was used a couple times. The front of the house. What's the house? Let's Get Invisible was used in a few episodes.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the other. It was that episode, and there was another episode where they used the front of the house.
They reused houses a lot. I remember they used the Stay Out of the Basement house a few times, I think.
They used it a few times.
I knew they did too, but I don't think it was. No, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Yeah, they've reused a few.
I like the House of No Return anyway. I thought that was an awesome episode. That was one of my favorite season 3 episodes.
And then one more thing.
The concept is creepy.
Is Werewolf Skin. Now that episode did come out, but as we mentioned,
came out. Got released.
But apparently there was and I believe we mentioned this before in our interview with Ron Oliver, that it was supposed to be written by Dan Angel and Billy Brown, but their version of the script was completely changed in the final product. Austin, what was that all about?
So, if you don't know the story, it was kind of uncovered news a few years ago, actually. But in season 3, Dan Angel and Billy Brown were the head show writers of the show at the time, and they pivoted to Ultimate Goosebumps, I guess, to try to revitalize the brand after, I guess, there was a changing of hands in '97. The book sales were kind of dying down. They're trying to figure out ways to get more viewers to the show again. So they remarketed the show as Ultimate Goosebumps. They changed the intro. They brought in more short stories to be more friendly on the budget. And the 2-parters they wanted to be more experimental with and do more unorthodox stories. So for Werewolf Skin, this was their moment to shine. They saw a lot of potential and reverence in the book that Stein put out, or was going to put out, I think. And from what I gather, they had a very distinct vision for what they wanted to pull off in the episode. Now, supposedly, higher ups, when they saw the proposed idea, they got upset and they said, no, you're going to have to rework this. Like, we're not going to be able to work around this. This is too far. And Dane Angel and Billy Brown made a case like, look, like, obviously, we're going to work around this. This isn't going to be as bad as you think it is. But they're like, no, like, literally throw that away and redo it. And they're like, you know what? You have no faith in us? Screw you. And they walked off the show because of it. They literally quit the show.
Whoa.
That's why they didn't have any screenwriting credits for season 4. So the story goes, Ron Oliver had to step in and then rewrite their rewrite and propose his own version. Apparently, they made him rewrite it even further. So the werewolf skin we got was like 4 rewrites deep at that point. So the original intended version of Dan Angel and Billy Brown's take on werewolf skin, I heard, was supposed to be dark, akin to the book. They were going to play more into, I guess, the addiction aspect to it. And like there was going to be some scenes involving the aunt and uncle of the story being, I guess, going a little far with how like horrific they're being. And apparently that scared the execs too much. It sucks, but it is what it is. Even though the episode that we did get, I think, does have a lot of elements in that. And even Oliver, he mentioned this in Jose Prendis's book, talking about the TV show and the companion, saying that he actually just looked at Dan Angel and Billy Brown's idea and tried to stick as faithful as he could to it. But obviously, he's Ron Oliver. He has to add his own, quirks to the story. But he tried to keep as much elements as he could and try to, keep the spirit of it, which is nice. But the actual true version of that episode, we never got to see, sadly.
Unfortunate. I mean, it would have been nice to just see them go a little darker with Goosebumps. It's scary.
That's what they wanted to do. I mean, they wanted to have that one episode because, One Day at Horrorland was kind of comedic. Then they had Perfect School, which was a little dark. They had people with umbilical cords, like umbilical cord clones in that episode, showing like actual fetuses and tubes and stuff. That wasn't too far, but then going, a little dark on the werewolf horror is too dark. Okay. But then they had Trilogy, the 3-parter. So
I love the werewolf skin episode we got, but it would have been cool to get it a little darker.
Yeah.
No, Perfect School was an example, definitely here. They went very dark with that.
Yeah, they did.
I still can't believe Sean Roberts is doing like conventions now, and people are just, he probably never imagined like all these years later I'd be going to conventions and people are like obsessed with my Goosebumps episode. Like, you know what I mean? You wouldn't think that. Like, okay, this is how I'm going to be remembered, like for Goosebumps.
Well, he did Resident Evil and a few other things. He's got a little bit of a...
He had a small role in Land of the Dead, I'm pretty sure.
repertoire.
At the beginning of Land of the Dead, I know he was in that. He had a small part in that.
Yeah.
But and that wasn't like 2004, I think. So he was still pretty young in that. But he's done a few things actually. His resume is pretty long. But he got Goosebumps, and that's what people want to talk about. Talk about your time on there.
Yep. Well, it seems like, other than the ones that we mentioned, there weren't many other Goosebumps episodes that were left on the cutting room table. From what we heard, the 4th season was intended to be, mostly as small as it was. But it sucks that there were more books that were intended to be adapted and just didn't come to be. Abominable Snowman or Jelly Jam. It seems a lot like it just came down to budget issues. They were getting less and less on the budget as the show went on and just stopped from bringing some to life. So hopefully we can find more.
I would like to have seen more Series 2000s. We got 2. I wanted to see like Preacher Teacher, like what they would have done with that. Like I wanted to see a bit more because they started the Series 2000 thing, but we only got 2 episodes. I mean, the Slappy one was easy because they already had the puppet. So they're like, Bride Living Dummy was probably like, oh, then we can do this. Like, we've already got the Slappy puppet. And then they were like, we can easily, but then Cry of the Cat, yeah. And I thought, well, it would have been nice to see a few more of them, but if the series continued, more. Like, if season 4 had continued for like another 10 episodes, like, I'm sure we would have got at least another Series 2001.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. But hopefully we could find out more information, but that's all we have for, lost TV episodes. Hopefully we find more. If there was any production or shooting or scripts done for Snowman or Jelly Jam, hopefully we can find them. But
No way.
moving on to our next topic, we have something very recent,
Oh,
and that is a canceled Goosebumps video game that just kind of, came in rumors, one possible poster, and then just completely disappeared.
Columbia Pictures on.
I believe we actually even talked about this when this poster came out in the early days of the podcast. Goosebumps Terror Tower. It was supposed to be the next video game from Cosmic Forces, who did Goosebumps Night of Scares and Goosebumps Dead of Night, and it was slated for a 2024 release and never came out. So
It's been delayed, you mean?
I mean, delayed, but
delayed.
probably considering that PHL now has the developing rights, I'm going to assume that probably we're not seeing this one.
Unless they want to take the game idea and make it themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it would be cool if they can do the same thing for or a similar thing for Terror Tower, what they did for Terror in Little Creek. It would be two titles with Terror in the name, though.
It should be that you get to play as the executioner, and you're basically just stalking and hunting
and killing children.
Susanna, and
Edward.
You know what I mean?
Eddie and Sue.
Like you're stalking them, and the objective is to find them so you can chop off their heads. But in this version, you win. The executioner wins.
So you get to kill children. That will
choose your own.
That will definitely not get you a TV or a TV for MA. That will definitely not get you a higher
for everyone.
What is it?
Imagine that.
Yeah, that's not going to get you an E for everyone. That's going to get you a rating M for mature.
Yeah, M for mature. That's it.
I will say, I'm kind of glad this one didn't happen just based on this poster, just because it's a cool looking design, but it's not Goosebumps. It looks more, I don't know, like Skyrim or something. You know what I mean? Like it looks like too clean, too realistic in that sense. Now give me a version that kind of looked like the Executioner from the 90s show, maybe, or
Tim Jacobus art,
or the Tim Jacobus art, even. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing.
Something
if that logo up there wasn't there, how would you know it was even Goosebumps?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like it doesn't scream Goosebumps at me when you look at it. I mean, it's very cool, but it's definitely not a Goosebumps look.
I think it would have been cool as like a strong prequel game, like a prequel to the book, like setting up the events of how Sue and Eddie went to the future the first time. I think that would have been kind of fun to build on that. Like said that the whole story set in the past and they figure out all this stuff that happened to them, because we never really got to experience what they originally went through. We were just told. So I think I always thought that would have been a fun way they could have gone about the game.
Yeah. Oh, and according
even a sequel would be neat.
Well, they had Return to Terror Tower, which is a Give Yourself Goosebumps book. That's like a sequel.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. So
according to the Goosebumps wiki, it says that originally Cosmic Forces teased the game on Twitter and announced they were working on the game and were giving updates in their Discord server. However, as of 2024, there were no more announcements for the game, as the developers canceled the project as they found it limiting. There's not much information about the game, but of course it's based on the book A Night in Terror Tower. And this appears to be the only physical proof, but there's rumors on whether or not this is even, because I don't even think this was actually officially posted by Cosmic Forces. So there's rumors on whether or not this poster is even real. And also, a lot of people have claimed AI for this poster, which is probably another reason why it looks so bland and basic. Because, I mean,
right.
I don't know. At least Dead of Night, that aesthetic at least reminded you of Goosebumps. This just doesn't. So, yeah. I mean, unfortunately, unlike our other topics, there's not really much to talk about.
You know, I could speak on the Discord because I was in it for like maybe like 2 months, and there's a guy in there claiming he was a dev, giving updates saying that they got people grinding out the graphics and grinding out the storyboards and getting that the voiceovers and the voice dubbing and all that. But then like after the chat was made, like it was like months and months and months and months and nothing went by. I pretty much had the chat muted. The dev never really returned, and then one day he comes back into the chat and says, "Well, the game's been canceled." This was like in the beginning of 2025, I think. So, and this is like, mind you, we had no word of terror in Little Creek, nothing, because that game came out of nowhere. We're like, okay, I guess we got a Goosebumps game canceled, and then we got a new one. So I'm guessing what happened was probably some rights issues, if I had to guess. Again, kind of like the Dark Ride earlier. Probably some rights issues.
Yeah, probably.
Similar to that.
Yeah, we have no idea what this game could have been like, what it was going to be, or again, even if this poster was real. But all we knew was that there was a Terror Tower game. It did not last long, and unless PHL, guys over there are pretty cool. Terror and Little Creek just came out. Maybe this could be the sequel. Never know.
Well, cool. So can you make this game that never happened?
Yeah.
Can you just continue the work?
Hopefully in a year we'll be looking back on this being like, called it. And now it's time to move on to our last unsolved Goosetery, and that is regarding something you all in the Goosebumps community might be very familiar with if you were around the time of the Horrorland series. That is EnterHorrorland.com, the online game that was associated with the Horrorland series. You could go to maps themed around all 12 books, and you can explore different mini games, fight bosses, all that good jazz. And unfortunately, not much is known as to why the website got taken down. Many years, definitely over a decade, if I'm right. Was it around like 2011? I'm pretty sure that it got taken down.
I think on Wayback Machine you can play it as far back as 2011, but once you go to like 2012, 2013, the Flash emulator stops working and the page redirects.
Yeah,
so
it only redirects back to the.
Yeah,
it only redirects back to the Enter Horrorland website. So like we can enter EnterHorrorland.com. Oh, it doesn't even bring anything up.
We'd have to go to Wayback Machine to access it, but on archive.
Oh, geez.
13.
Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen, we are here. So yeah, with Wayback Machine, you can access the first screen.
Get Goosebumps.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Pretty funny.
Get out of here. Get out of here.
You got new sound effects for the podcast.
Yep, get out of here.
All right. Get out of here.
Ooh, get out of here. Get out of here.
New sound effects.
Ooh, so you can pull up like
Come families, come friends to a place that's grand. For fun and for thrills, visit Horrorland. With twists and turns and flips and spins, our rides are a riot. So strap yourself in. If your tummy is grumbling.
I'm gonna mute the site for right now. So and then get Goosebumps so you can go to the.
It's got over 200,000 guests on there. Was there really that many people on there?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Probably. They had the video game out around this time too, so there probably would have been like a big old hype train to be on this.
And this was early enough to when this was the Goosebumps website. It was just this little screen.
Yeah, if you go to play it, I think you can play the mini games. I was playing the Terror Tower one the other day.
Let's do it. Let's sling some slime.
Oh.
This is unprecedented. This is literally history unfolding right here.
I like that old website.
I like to come to this website like once a week and just play around on it. So much fun.
I actually did not expect to actually access the Enter Horrorland website.
Yeah, some games don't play, but I can show you how to play them. All you got to do is take the SWF file out and go to like the Ruffles like actual website, and pull the Flash emulator like pretty much manually to get it to work. But
Yeah.
some
But
things
this-
are that, yeah.
This is basically the main website for the enterhorrorland.com. It even said there at first, it said map 8 now open. So this would have been around the time Say Cheese and Die Screaming came out. Close that. So essentially, you came here when every book came out for the Horrorland series, but around 2012, the website basically was closed off. You couldn't play it anymore. And even though you could still access it, after a while, it would just redirect you to the Scholastic Goosebumps website. So I pulled up this, the Lost Media Wiki forums, and it says that... So it says it was directly tied to the Horrorland series. They have the SWF file of the menu screen to bypass the login, but since the game spanned multiple SWF files, can't actually play the game. And then they actually said that there is a something called reenterhorrorland.com. Oh yes, so the maps and one of the mini games have been found and put together at reenterhorrorland.com. So let's go there really quick.
Re-enter Horrorland.
Let's see.
Clever.
And it said that the first map was available.
You still remember your login?
Yeah, you still need to enter a login. You have to register. Can't log in.
What? You can't play the game?
Now it says over 600,000 guests horrified.
That must have been later on, eh?
Yeah. Well, that's interesting that there's like a re-enter Horrorland, so there's like a project to bring it back up.
Just for
I got
archival
circumcised at
purposes, I'm assuming,
Furland.
because people want the experience, because the books, like, people will tell you, like, when the website was up, it was just as important to go on the website to get the story in the game as it was reading the books. So like, it's kind of like it's like a missing piece to the element of the actual series.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and it was interesting because you were able to go every single time a new book came out, and it was like a tie-in. So every single map would be, like the first map, it was Revenge of the Living Dummy. So it would have an emphasis on Slappy, but it was also, like you said, great world building for the world of Horrorland, because you get to interact with all the different attractions that were talked about in the books or in the survival guide. So it was a really big extension of that series, and it's just a shame that, you have to jump through so many hoops to play it now. But overall, I mean,
movie websites still work? Remember there was like a movie website?
I think that was just...
You can probably go on archive and see if it's on there.
There was a Goosebumps movie site. I remember you could play games even on that.
What was the URL?
I wish I could remember. It was like goosebumpsmovie.com, I think. I think. Okay, it was goosebumps-movie.com. And the G and the M were capitals. So goosebumps-movie.com. That's literally what it says on the back of the book.
Go.
Let's see.
Is this it? I think it might be.
It must be in theaters October 16th, 2015.
2015, man.
Let's see if it can load all the way.
So crazy. It's 10 years ago, man.
Can't really access the movie website now. Damn.
No. I don't know. Maybe in the future. But no, I mean, when it comes to the old Goosebumps websites, we've done episodes talking about the Goosebumps websites in the past, but when it comes to Enter Horrorland, they're still finding a way to bring that game back, and it seems like they're on the right track. But yeah, Austin, you need to help me so I can figure out how to do it. Maybe we'll have to do an episode.
Yeah,
Go
just
back to
like digging through a whole episode just on archive.org, Goosebumps searching.
Yeah.
But like if we're going on the mystery of why it was shut down, if we're going on the mystery why it was shut down, I think, it's probably obvious. Horrorland was, after the first 12 books, the concept was kind of running dry because, they abandoned it in Arc 2. They went a whole different route. Then by Hall of Horrors, they did basically a soft reset again. So if they're not going to continue with the Horrorland arc, why keep it up?
Yeah.
I do understand the argument that they'd be stupid not to if they're going to keep the books in print. Which, if they're going to get rid of it, in like 2011, 2012, I guarantee you, like Revenge of the Living Dummy is still in print. Why are you going to get rid of the website? I don't know if today's prints of the book got rid of the website mentioned. I'd be curious. I haven't looked in them.
It's possible.
They're still printing Revenge of the Living Dummy.
Yeah, they are. But I don't know if they're still putting the website ad in it. That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
Whoa.
But yeah.
When it comes to I think it also just had to do with the fact that that style of Flash game was fizzling out after a certain point. So like by 2012, those kinds of games weren't like as big anymore. And then of course, when Flash died, essentially, something like that was obsolete. So they probably, after a certain point, were just like, there's no use in keeping this up. And
yeah, you're right. Even if it did last like until like 17, 18 when Flash closed or something like that.
Yeah.
They would have still had to close it because they couldn't operate it anymore. So.
Yeah, but it looks like for now there's still an attempt to bring the site back. Reenterhorrorland.com. We saw it here, folks. Go check it out and see if you guys can get in there and experience the joys or re-experience, of entering Horrorland. I'm certainly going to try.
You can still look at like posts from users of the time. You can still play like 2 little mini games. Like the Terror Tower one is pretty fun to play.
Mm-hmm.
But aside from that, playing the actual experience is like next to impossible.
That's the thing. I want to see if somebody played it to the final boss, because I think the final boss was supposed to be like Slappy again.
The Rock.
Is there any YouTube videos on? I have never looked on this actually. Is there any YouTube videos of people that have tried to archive it?
I have no idea. I've never seen the final boss. I've only seen the first boss with Slappy. Oh, it looks like a user by the name of Noiseland Co. did a playthrough of Enter Horrorland, and it looks like he got to map 12. But I don't know if he beat the game though. So
it's so hard.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and take a look. But and it was only within because he did a first playthrough and he only got to map 11. So I guess we'll have to see. But yeah, for anybody who can find a way to play Enter Horrorland, go play it, because I remember that being the shit when I was first getting into Goosebumps. That menu music alone was awesome. So.
Maybe what you should do if you're gonna read the Horrorland books these days, maybe you should go watch that playthrough after you read like each book, so that way you can at least attempt to see the full experience, what it would have looked like.
Yeah, we'll leave a link in the description for that playthrough if you guys at home want to go check it out. So free advertisement for Noiseland Co. over on YouTube. But yeah, he's an old friend. We claim. But yeah, that is all we have for this episode's version. This episode of Unsolved Gooseteries. And as always, if you folks at home want us to cover any other unsolved mysteries in the Goosebumps franchise, or you have anything you want us to cover, let us know in the comments below or on social media. We're always looking to uncover the mysteries of old Goosebumps media, lost media, all that sort of stuff. And we just love talking about it. So whether it's and if you have any other information about the stuff we covered today, the Dark Ride, the Romero scripts, lost TV episodes, anything like that, obviously let us know, because we want to know more about these different ventures of the Goosebumps franchise. But for now, these mysteries are left unsolved. But anyway, that is gonna do it for tonight's episode of the Goosebumps Crew Podcast. Of course, Austin, man, always great to have you, dude. And we ever come back to this little Unsolved Gooseteries series, you got to be there.
Absolutely.
Awesome, man. And as always, I will leave a link to Austin's channel, Horror Free for All, in the comments below. You can also check out his podcast, Goose Junkies. We'll leave a link to that as well. So go show him support because he's awesome. He's a great pillar here in the Goosebumps community. So go check him out, show him some support. As well as, of course, Bjorn and Nick at Goosebumps Aussie Fan and Sean, respectively, on their social medias and their YouTubes. If you liked today's episode, make sure you have a like and comment. Subscribe to our YouTube. Follow us on our audio platforms and social medias. All those links are in the description below, so check them out. We'll have another episode for you next week, but until then, this has been the Goosebumps Crew Podcast, and from all of us here, I want to wish you, as always, to take care, stay safe, and have a very scary day.